Why do some people outshine others and achieve 10 times more with the same 24 hours? It's not just talent. There's a hidden skill that separates the exceptional from the average. Professor Cal Newport uncovered it after studying the most accomplished minds in history. What did they all have in common? They mastered the rare ability to tune out the noise and dive deep into hard, meaningful work for hours at a time. Newport calls this deep work, the art of distraction-free focus on demanding tasks. But what makes it so powerful? And how can you train your brain to do it starting today? This video was inspired by Cal Newport's amazing book, Deep Work. Please find the links to the book in the description below. Distraction and doom scrolling have become the norm. Everything in life is speeding up. Information is overloading, chaos is rising. And as the world becomes more chaotic, there has never been a more important time to learn how to train your mind to focus and go deep. The challenge of deep work in a distracted world. Let's first examine why deep work is so challenging today. In the age of constant digital interruptions, deep work seems like a thing of the past. With knowledge workers chained to their inboxes and other scattered tasks, the rarity of deep concentration within most people's lives has become alarming. Yet herein lies the paradox. The very scarcity of deep work elevates its values, marking the difference between mere busyness and true effectiveness. The ability to perform deep, distraction-free, and effective work becomes a superpower when compared to most others. So what is the best way to navigate a world of distractions? First, we need to look at the difference between shallow and deep tasks. Shallow tasks are not complex and do not create value. Examples include checking emails, following up with colleagues, meetings, or formatting documents. Deep work examples include writing an article, researching a topic, learning a new skill, or thinking of new ways to approach a problem. Deep work is a path to mastery and achievement. Deep work is more than just locking yourself in a room in isolation. It's about dedicating uninterrupted, focused time for profound thinking. This path, while less traveled, offers the keys to rapid skill acquisition and the creation of exceptional work. You can accomplish more in less time if you manage shallow work efficiently and avoid distractions. Let's dive into all the ways you can begin to implement deep work and unlock your full potential. So what is the secret to becoming the best in your field? According to Newport, there are two key abilities required. 1, the ability to quickly master hard things, and 2, the ability to produce at an elite level in terms of both quality and speed. These skills aren't easy to develop. They require deep work, focusing on complex tasks with uninterrupted focus. So how can deep work help you learn things quickly? Skills, whether intellectual or physical, eventually reduce down to brain circuits. And these complex circuits are made up of billions of neurons. When you learn something new, your brain activates a specific pathway of neurons related to that skill. Neuroscientists believe that when we make improvements on challenging tasks, we develop more of a fatty tissue called myelin. Myelin insulates around the relevant neurons in a corresponding circuit to make them fire faster and cleaner. To be great at something is to be well myelinated. Through uninterrupted concentration on a specific skill, you're forcing that specific relevant circuit to fire again and again in isolation, effectively cementing the skill. In contrast, let's say John is trying to learn how to code in JavaScript, but also has his TikTok feed open. He would be randomly firing too many circuits at the same time and not isolating the neural circuit he actually wants to strengthen. And it's hard to learn a new skill quickly without intense focus. How can deep work help you produce at an elite level? For the average knowledge worker, an average day may include many different tasks and projects. We are often switching from task to task as the day unfolds. Sophie Leroy, a business professor at Michigan University, discovered that when we switch from task A to task B, our attention doesn't immediately follow. Our minds are still stuck on task A. She calls this attention residue. After we switch tasks, attention residue makes it difficult to focus on the new one. Moreover, if you leave the previous task unfinished, the effect becomes even greater. It may seem harmless to check your phone or inbox every 15 minutes, but these quick checks introduce a new target for your attention. It is very difficult to produce at an elite level if you're in an unfocused state for most of your day. So why should you even care about deep work? The first reason is that what you focus on shapes your reality. Who you are, what you think, how you feel, and what you do is the sum of what you focus on. In other words, where your attention goes determines your reality. Deep work trains your attention on things that truly matter to you, which means your life begins to feel more meaningful. The second reason is psychological. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi studied when people felt happiest. The answer was not when people were relaxing, but when they were completely absorbed in a difficult, worthwhile task. He called this state flow, and deep work is one of the best ways to trigger it. Flow equals happiness. Deep work equals flow, so therefore deep work equals happiness. Principle 1. The 4 types of deep work. According to Newport, there are 4 different ways to fit deep work into our daily lives. Step 1 is finding the right style that works for you. The first is the monastic approach. Monastic deep workers focus on deep work above everything else. They are disconnected, rarely use social media or email, and avoid all distractions. Large chunks of their time is dedicated to uninterrupted work. This style of deep work suits people with high control over their schedules. Writers, researchers, or entrepreneurs, for example. Their weekly calendar would likely look something like this. A good example of someone that embodies the monastic approach is science fiction writer Neil Stephenson, who has completely eliminated all forms of shallow work from his professional life. Second, the bimodal approach. Bimodal workers balance their time between focused work sessions and day-to-day tasks. They create time blocks for deep work and time blocks for shallow work. The bimodal approach is great for people who can spend entire days on deep work. Their weekly calendar would likely look something like this. The psychologist Carl Jung was an example of someone following the bimodal approach. He would dedicate periods of time to deep work on his retreats to a house in the forest, and the rest of Jung's time was spent managing a busy clinical practice. Third, the rhythmic approach. Rhythmic deep workers make deep work a habit through a consistent schedule. They block specific hours daily, creating a consistent, steady rhythm of focused work that fits around their work hours. The rhythmic approach is great for people with structured schedules, like those in 9-to-5 jobs. Their weekly calendar would likely look something like this. Finally, we have the journalistic approach. Journalistic deep workers find ways to fit deep work around their busy or unpredictable schedules. Newport warns, though, that this approach should not be used for deep work beginners. They might keep a to-do list of deep work tasks. This way they can jump into these tasks when unexpected free time comes up. The journalistic approach works well for people with busy schedules. This includes journalists, executives, or parents who need to take advantage of any available free time. Their weekly calendar would be unpredictable, but may look something like this at the end of the week. Walter Isaacson, the famed biographer and journalist, is a good example of someone using the journalistic approach. He could easily switch from work mode to writing mode, and this ability helped him write his first book in any spare moment he had. You can see that even with many shallow tasks, you can still find time to schedule deep work. Some people like to alternate between deep and shallow work. Others prefer long stretches of uninterrupted focus. To build a strong work habit, you need to create your own ritual. Ask yourself these questions. How can I make my ritual specific? Where will I work? How long will I work for? What are the rules surrounding my ritual? Can I use social media? Do I need to ban the use of the internet? Where should my mobile phone be during my ritual? Will I drink coffee? What foods will I eat around the time of my ritual? To end the day, create a shutdown ritual. Review your tasks, check what's complete or urgent. Plan tomorrow today. Add any new task and set up tomorrow's plan to hit the ground running. Bring, dump, and capture any loose thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Lastly, create a shutdown phrase for yourself, such as shutdown complete or offline mode activated. Say it out loud to yourself to end your shutdown ritual. This acts as a psychological trigger, telling your brain work mode is done. Principle 2. How to embrace boredom. The majority of people fight against boredom. Moments without immediate stimulation are resisted. Smartphones and always being connected to the internet quickly fill these voids. If you want to focus deeply when it counts, you need to train your brain to embrace boredom. The secret to unlocking productivity and creativity lies in the very moments we try so hard to fill. To avoid doing the tasks we need to complete, we turn to our smartphones or begin trying to multitask. Studies by Clifford Nass at Stanford reveal that multitaskers struggle to filter out irrelevant information and have an increased tendency to become distracted. As a result, their brains become addicted to the constant stimulation, expecting to be saved from boredom at all times. Multitasking interferes with focus and learning, causing long-term damage. The ability to focus on one task is the first step towards deep work. So how can we do this? The first strategy Newport suggests is, don't take breaks from distraction, take breaks from focus. By scheduling time for distractions, it helps us to stay focused at all other times of the day. These distraction blocks can be used for social media, the internet, email, TV, Netflix, or any number of other distractions. If you schedule your distractions, boredom becomes more manageable. Another strategy to use is productive meditation. This technique trains your brain to hold focus while doing something automatic like walking or showering. To do this, pick a specific problem to think about. Go for a walk or do a low-effort activity that moves your body, and whenever your mind drifts, gently bring it back into focus. It sounds simple, but it's surprisingly difficult. Just like lifting weights, this builds mental focus. Lastly, always keep in mind attention residue. Don't be fooled into thinking that a 2-minute distraction on another task is really only 2 minutes. Losing a few minutes can kill the hour. Losing an hour can kill the day. Focus isn't a switch you can turn on and off at will. You need to build it through practice. To do deep work consistently, you must train yourself to embrace boredom. Principle 3. Quit social media. Social media platforms are designed to be addictive. They're engineered to keep you scrolling, liking, commenting, and not thinking deeply. So what would happen if you completely disconnected from all social media for a moment? For many people, being disconnected from social media makes them feel happier and appreciate life more. But even after feeling happier, they soon return to social media to us for hours every day. There is an interesting paradox. The joy of disconnecting bursts a strong pull back into the digital world. The seduction of social media lies in its promise of instant gratification and connectivity. People often use networking tools like Facebook or Instagram because they only consider the benefits and not any of the hidden costs. Hidden costs like fragmented attention and a reduced capacity for deep work, which is so important for achieving meaningful goals. We can reassess our digital habits with Cal Newport's suggested 30-day social media cleanse. We can make better decisions about our digital activities by temporarily stepping away from these platforms. To undertake a 30-day social media cleanse, follow these steps. Start by stopping. Stop all social media activity immediately. No Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or any other platforms you use often. You do not need to deactivate your accounts. Simply log out. Do not announce your break on these platforms. Next, observe and reflect. Throughout the 30 days, live your life as usual without social media. Pay attention to the changes in your mood, productivity, or social life. At the end of the 30 days, evaluate and ask yourself 2 questions for each social media platform. 1. Would the last 30 days have been notably different with the use of this service? And 2. Did anyone care or notice that I wasn't using the service? Lastly, decision time. If you answered no to both questions for a particular service, consider quitting it permanently. If you found clear value in a service, you may choose to reintegrate it into your life. This process helps you determine the true value of each social media platform in your life and make informed decisions on its use in the future. You can ask yourself, am I using this tool or is this tool using me? Do these platforms align with my goals in life? When you view social media through this lens, you can navigate the digital realm with purpose, reclaim your attention, and focus your time and creativity on pursuits that truly matter to you. Principle 4. Have a shallow work budget. In 2007, a company called 37 Signals, now Basecamp, made a bold move. They cut their work week from 5 days down to 4, sparking a productivity revolution. Despite reducing their work by 20%, their productivity remained sky high. When people have fewer hours, they focus more on deep, meaningful tasks and avoid shallow tasks. Cal Newport suggests scheduling every minute of the day, separating your workday into time blocks of deep and shallow work, and sticking to a shallow work budget. This means scheduling time for tasks that need intense focus and batching less important tasks into shallow time slots. Focus on doing fewer things, but doing them deeply and consistently. Stick to a routine that protects your time and energy. Over time, your work and your mindset will begin to shift. Challenge the idea that you always need to be busy and connected. Instead, disconnect. Create space in your life for focus. That space is where deep work lives. And deep work is where your best ideas are hiding. It's a simple idea, but it can change everything. You don't need more time, you need more focus. In this noisy, chaotic world, focus is your superpower.